What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Champion Living Podcast, where we believe that consistency, perseverance, and not taking life too seriously are the keys to success. I'm Doug, the founder and owner and head coach of Champion Living Fitness. Each week, I'll be joined by my coaching staff with the vision of providing trustworthy information about fitness, nutrition, and mindset, and how this all applies to being a professional rodeo athlete, as well as people from all walks of life. Are you ready to become a champion? Let's go.
My thing this week is sleep. So I'm back home, been going for a minute. So like my relentlessly intentional effort this week is on being done on my phone or on my computer by 8 p.m. and being like getting 8 hours. And so I've got like more reasonable expectations for what time I should wake up in the morning. And I've just been setting my alarm for 5:45
Is this
instead of
just
like
a random fact?
Yeah, just like a random,
Okay.
but this is day 3 and I feel like the best I've felt in a long time. And the only thing I've changed is,
Sleeping enough.
eight full hours of sleep. I think I'm averaging over the last 3 days, 7 hours and 55 minutes. And so anyway,
That's better.
it's a game. It's like one of those things that you preach all the time to clients, but it's so easy to like,
man.
skip yourself. It's
It's
good for you.
That's
But
life.
yeah.
But yeah, you just get so busy you forget, and then you literally will be giving the advice to a client, and you go, "Oh, yeah, ooh, I just spoke to myself right there."
Mhm.
But I think the motto for our Septembers, which were different in very different ways, but rode hard, put up wet is all I could think of.
Yeah.
It's like I did not take care of myself. I think I said on the last show, like I ended up sick. But I went max effort, no food, and 4 to 5 hours of sleep for like 15 days, and I think I'm got out pretty lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
But sleep is the biggest thing, man.
Yep.
It's free, and it is the hardest thing to rack up. And once you get that sleep debt accumulating, gosh, dang, is it hard to get it to go down, because you'll have a few of those nights where you get 5 or 6 hours, and my Whoop obviously tracks what my sleep debt is, and all of a sudden I'm 90 minutes in debt. Well, the next night I'll have 8 hours of sleep. I'll sleep great. I'll feel great, but I still need 90 extra minutes to make up for the those 3 days. And it just turns into this downhill spiral. And you really do have to almost, like you said, prioritize it. And so when I came back from these trips and stuff, and I prioritized moving again in the gym, which has felt incredible, but my volume is so low. I'm doing I call it prehab stuff. I'm just getting my body adjusted to moving again. But I know that that's going to keep my strain low throughout the day. That means I'm not outputting a ton, and then I'm focusing on sleep. And I know my body's tired. I fell asleep at 7 o'clock last night. I woke up at 9 and went messed around for an hour, but my body's like, dude, you need to sleep. And catching up on that is the hardest thing. And especially all these guys and girls that just got done with the season, like, y'all need to catch up on sleep. Prioritize that rest, or else your training and all that prep is never gonna be as successful as it could be.
Yeah, you need to load up on sleep now while you can, big dog, because it's coming for you. The train of sleeplessness is headed right to your driveway. It's gonna roll in there sometime in January, probably. So having a baby, it's crazy.
Dude, I am so effed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. That's been setting in hard these last couple of months, because I can see little man moving in Al's belly. He's there.
Wild. It's like, is that from a horror movie? This is. I feel like I've seen this scene in a horror movie before, when they're when there's like ripples on the belly. You're like, nope, no, I don't know. I don't like that. Feeling kick. I'm like, no, I don't want to touch that at all.
Every time that she says that, I put my hand on him and he stops. 100% will not kick. And the second I take it away, he starts again. So I'm like, no, I'm done playing your games.
Yeah.
But that's getting real. I'm going to be on no sleep for sure. But at the same sense, I've been I've been slowly planning
Mm,
everything leading
mm,
up to this, and like my life is going to change drastically, not just because I'm going to be a dad, but like of just everything, the time allotment, how I do my day work wise. Wife just got a new job. She is working 5 days a week, sometimes 10 to 12 hours a day. Like I am
mm,
going to be home a lot. And so I'm going to have to be doing a lot of the things around the house. I will probably be with him majority of the time. So I've been knowing that's going to come. So I haven't been taking on new clients because I know that here in 2 months, that is not going to be good. And not just for me, but I won't be able to give the attention to
mm.
that many clients, right?
Yep.
So I've got it at a really good number that I like now. I know I'll be able to give them enough time and attention and be able to help them how we know how we do things,
Yep.
But it's going to be wild, man. And I know that just from it's so funny to have he's just a season of life, but all of our close friends, minus you, just had their first kids,
Mm.
right? They're all telling me about their experiences as through the first year, and it's hilarious because half of them don't want to freak me out, and they're like, "Yeah, man, it's the best thing ever." Blah 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 blah. And then you have friends like Buck Lunick who sit you down and go, "Dougie, I am not going to lie to you. It's terrible. The first 6 months is terrible. It's awesome, but it's terrible. Like it's going to test every will. You're going to say, "What have we done?" Many times, but
Yeah.
it continues to get better than that. And you're so desensitized to it because you've been through this 4 times in the last 6 years.
Yeah,
Well, how old's
yeah, it's
Conley?
yeah, 8, yeah, I mean, 8
8.
years, but yeah, it's still it's like it's hard. It's pretty awesome though because the podcast has gotten to the spot where we have quite a few regular listeners that don't miss an episode, like
Five or
and so
six, yeah.
I've been getting I've talked to a few people that are like we're so ready for Doug to have a kid. They're like
Oh,
so
it's gonna
excited. They're
wreck
like, "Oh,
me.
I bet you're fired up too." I'm like, "Oh, you don't even know." Cuz it's I think we've told the story about like you buying a home, you know what I'm saying? And me having a house for a couple years and like all the stuff I've got to fix
Oh
all the
yeah.
time. And then like, I was like, oh, Doug's getting a house. Now he's going to figure it out. And
Oh
sure
yeah.
enough, like within a couple weeks, you're working on irrigation or something.
Oh
And
yeah.
so then
Then
it's
a
like,
day.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
It's
anyway,
crazy,
I
but
I am beyond excited for you guys. It is gonna be a crazy. It's good to have a game plan, and it's just like probably competition, right? Like even riding bucking horses or like fencing competition. Like I was just at. It's good to have a game plan, but as soon as they say go, as soon as you nod your head, as soon as the baby's there, it's like we got something to fall back on. The majority of it just goes out the window, and you're like, okay, what do I need to do to keep my head above water today? So I think
yeah.
it's
I don't have any plans. I just
yeah,
have a plan that I know my work is at a good place, that I
yep,
can
yep,
sustain it with
yep,
no matter how little sleep I get.
yep.
And that's what I've learned from everybody is they all had
Yep.
this game plan going in and it all went to shit real
Yep.
quick. And
Yeah,
so
it does.
we're gonna roll with it just day
Yep.
by day. Here we go. I'm
Yep.
excited. But it kind of this I think is a perfect segue into what we're gonna talk about today, which is
Yeah.
discipline. Like
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to be very disciplined in what I do and strategic about how I allot my time and all of those things, just like we all have been with you guys have full families, right? But I had a client reach out. No, it wasn't a client. It was just a random person on Instagram. And I thought the question that she asked was something that we see across the board, but I've never had someone be able to. This person looked themselves in the mirror and said, I'm going to ask this hard question for an
Mm.
answer, right? And she asked, I have no problem doing my sport specific things when it comes to rodeo. All the practice, all the roping, all the dummy, all the riding the horses, no problem. I have zero want, motivation to do the extras, the workout,
Mm.
the nutrition, the professional skills that you're going to need to be successful in this game. What should I do? I'm like, dude, I've never had someone that takes a lot of taking the ego out to ask that question. I feel like
Absolutely.
because you're asking like, what's not wrong with me, but what can I do better? How can I be a better version of myself? And my biggest thing to her was, what's your why? Why are you doing this? Because if you're just doing this for fun, like it's your hobby, you enjoy doing it, maybe it's going to get you a college scholarship, but you have no desires to do this for a living. I don't think you have to do much more, beyond the fact of if you want to be healthier, if you're dealing with like if you want to gain muscle, if you want to lose weight, whatever it is. Yes, adding fitness and all that is going to help those goals. And yeah, it's going to in turn help the rodeo scene no matter what. But if your goal is to be a world champ, is to go to the NFR, is to be in the bright lights and have sponsorships and make a living at this. It's a non-negotiable. And what I mean by that is you're in love with the thought of that, of being a world champ, the bright lights, the sponsors, but you are not in love with the process to get there. You like the fun things, but the journey is not 100% fun. It's, I would say, like 50-50 if you're lucky. Is like that, you know.
30-70.
Yeah. So you just have to, I don't know how to say it. Like, so rodeo specific practice feels second nature to all of us when we're doing it, but the rest, the struggling with the discipline of the fitness, nutrition, other professional skills that are just crucial to success in everything, in every sport, not just rodeo. You have to be doing these things. If you look at the NFL, MLB, any other thing, look at their days. Go back to Cooper Davis, our last episode with him, 2 episodes ago now. Dude, listen to his day, listen to his prep, listen to how he did everything. It all shows discipline. He's motivated to win, but he is disciplined to do all of those things because he loves to win. And so right now we're going to break down, just like we kind of have been, we're going to break down not just how to get through this work, but how to actually thrive by mastering discipline in all areas of being a rodeo athlete.
Yep, for sure. I think that the first thing that, as we talk about discipline, I think you have to define it, right? It's important to understand the difference between, say, motivation and discipline, right? And so motivation typically is like, I mean, it's fleeting. And so it's something that you get for a moment. It's like maybe it's just there for a moment, but discipline is what's going to actually get you to the destination. So there's a ebb and a flow. Discipline's not like there's not a right and a wrong or a better. You have to have both. Discipline, it's not just about doing the things that you really enjoy, like riding the spur board or lifting heavy weight. You know, discipline is like really reaching your full potential by doing the things that you know you need that you don't like. So if you were going to reach your full potential as a rodeo athlete, for example, it's going to take more than just the skill development. We've seen that so often with guys that they have phenomenal ability as far as their skill. They've got more reps in than anybody else. It's second nature to them, but they've maybe neglected their nutrition, or they've neglected the gym. They've neglected their mind game. And so they're limited on how far they can go because of that. At the same token, we've got other guys that maybe have, they're in really, really good shape, but they're not riding the spur board as much because they don't enjoy that part of it. And so they're not going to reach their full potential either. If you ever get sucked into just focusing on the things that you love, one aspect of being successful, you're never going to really reach your full potential. Nobody likes eating better. Nobody likes making those hard choices. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, there's a lot of times where you're faced with things, especially on the road, where it's like, man, I probably don't need that, or I probably shouldn't. And making those choices is part of being a disciplined athlete because you know that it is going to propel you forward to where you want to be.
What you just described is the whole picture of being a successful professional rodeo athlete. Not even just professional, any rodeo athlete. If you do all of these things and focus on them, you are going to be successful. But it's easy to lock in on those easy things and to skip on the other things. And what I heard from you is you're leaving so much on the table. If you're only developing one side of the puzzle, like, cool, that side's real shiny. Where's the other side? And we see that at our schools a ton, is in the spur board and the drop barrels when we do our bull riding schools. Guys can be in extremely good shape, but they're not in riding shape. The riding muscles are weak. They haven't not been on doing the skill specific things, and it's really apparent. So other side of things, we have guys that can ride the living crap out of all those things, and they can barely do 10 push-ups. You're going to be able to get on an animal and do well. But if your goal is to be an elite at the professional ranks, newsflash, you got to get on at least 100 nowadays. They are not letting guys be done at Pendleton anymore. You have to keep going. So you're going to go to 100 rodeos. And if you can't do 10 push-ups, you ain't getting by 10 rodeos healthy at that level. So the bottom line here is you have to you got to do everything, and you have to do it when you don't want to. And that's the difference between motivation and discipline. Motivation is, again, like he said, fleeting. So you're pumped up about this, but when it comes time to, I need to go to the gym and do the spur board, but I just do the spur board because I don't feel like going to the gym. You're not disciplined. You're just motivated for a small amount of time. Discipline, those people that are disciplined go and get it done no matter what, because the goal is so big to them that it's not an option. It's a non-negotiable. And I'm not saying you have to go in there and be Ronnie Coleman. You don't have to be the Hulk when you go in there. You need to work out strong or smart and have an individualized plan. You know what I mean? Like, guys take that. I say, you have to live it. You got to live it. Like, you got to go and do it. Next thing you know, guys are doing hypertrophy and they're like, dude, I've gained like 30 pounds of muscle. I'm like, that's badass, but it doesn't help us for rodeo, right? We've got to make this specific for you. So don't waste your time by just going to the gym. Have a plan, have a nutrition plan, have ideas. Like, don't just say, oh, I'm going to do that. I'm going to work out. I'm going to eat enough. What is that? What is working out enough? What is eating enough? If you don't know, get some help.
Yep.
That's what we're here
100%.
For, right?
Yep, 100%. I completely agree. It's just having a plan for those things, right? If you're left to your own devices, you're never going to be successful by default. So you've got to have that plan on, like, when I'm not motivated, I fall back on my training. I fall back on the things I've learned.
Was there
I
things
fall
for
back on my
you
game plan.
that you were more motivated with, or like things what was easy for you to do when you were rodeoing? Like, what were
there was none of it was very easy. I'm just kidding. I would say for me, like, I really enjoyed, similar to many rodeo athletes, my rodeo career took place, the majority of it, if not all of it, took place before I actually knew much about strength and conditioning. And so I really enjoyed the process of beating myself up in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was nothing for me to want to do 2 workouts a day. Now, understanding nutrition, I did not understand nutrition in any way, shape, or form, and I didn't care to know anything. And so I never really pursued that at all. And so I had no real discipline in learning how I could actually help my body be better. I just loved the art of making myself want to puke in the gym, which turns out every injury that I had in rodeo that sidelined me for any period of time could really probably be drawn back to overuse and overtraining. Right. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes when you just let your heart lead you and you just follow your motivation, you're not disciplined, it ends up hurting you more than it helps you.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I was kind of going back to the question that girl asked me about, her doing rodeo practice and having no problem and doing the weightlifting and having no motivation or discipline for it. I think a lot of folks think that, well, it's easy it happens. Discipline breaks down in areas. It's not always just this whole encompassing thing where it's like, oh, F it all, I'm not doing any of it. It's like, no, you can be really good at one part and be not disciplined at the other, and therefore you're not getting better, right?
Yep.
One thing's getting better, but the other is not. And for a lot of folks, that rodeo practice, and I'm gonna, especially for timed event, this is where I think this is gonna ring some bells here. It's familiar. It's fun. You know that thing, it feels like real work in the arena, right? You feel like you're getting further when you're able to rope that dummy better, or spur the spurboard better, or ride the drop barrel better. But when it comes to lifting weights, eating right, or even planning your career, it's not as rewarding in the moment. And we are so hooked on that instant gratification as a society, not just people listening to this. Everyone, I am the same, right? I like instant gratification. There are common mental barriers to staying disciplined outside of direct competition. And the biggest thing here is the lack of immediate reward or excitement. None of the lifting weights is not exciting all the time. Eating right is not exciting. Planning your career is not always exciting, but it can be if you start seeing the steps that you get to, how we get to those plans, right? That all or nothing mindset. We have a lot of people that I have to do this 100% all day, every day, or not doing it all. That's BS. That is not going to move the needle forward for you, because that's not a sustainable pace. And we're talking about sustainable things you can do, repeat every single day to get you further ahead, that 0.1% each day, right? You're not going to move 20% a day. It doesn't work like that. We're talking about years and years and years of development and discipline. And this goes into, then you get overwhelmed from trying to do too much at once. And I see everyone, I used to do that all the time until I figured out how to slow everything down and look at pieces that I need to add in. But you've got to, if your goal is to be an elite athlete at this, you have to see that big picture and know that even these not fun things that don't seem fun to you are very, very important and are going to be very fun at the years down the road if you continue to do it right.
Ooh, I think it almost ties back into like how we started the podcast with the conversation about sleep, right? And so it's the
Yeah,
one
exactly.
area in which I'm choosing to be disciplined this week. There's a lot of things that I want to do. I want to accomplish this with work and that with work and over here, and I've got a whole list of things to do. But the one area in which I'm just not making any excuses is on my bedtime routine and getting 8 hours of sleep. And so I'm able to like stack up some wins there because I'm not focusing so broad on trying to hit all my nutrition goals and get 5 workouts in this week and ride the spurboard and do the thing and get 8 hours of sleep and over. It's like, man, I just picked one this week to focus on, and it's one that is going to overflow into all of those aspects. If I'm not getting 8 hours of sleep, then I'm probably not going to perform the best when I do go to the gym or when I am working or so on and so forth. So I think that kind of speaks to the being overwhelmed from trying to do too much, which, like you said, we've all been guilty of trying to do. But there's a lot of times where I have implemented discipline in my life and it felt like I was being
Punishing
punished.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what
No,
I'm saying?
I see that all the time, and I felt like that as well. And it's just a shift in the mindset of how you're thinking about it. And from what just when I had those words in my mouth when you said it because of what you shifted how you thought about sleep. You
Yeah.
shifted how you were thinking about exercise that just for the week because it isn't punishment. Being disciplined is not punishing yourself. It's actually the purest form of self-respect in
Mm,
my eyes because you
yep.
are doing the thing that is best for you regardless if the thing between your ears wants to do it or not. And that's where the greats, anyone that is great or elite at what they do, they all have that. There's no one out there that is at that level that's not disciplined at whatever they're doing.
Yep.
And it could be like literally as simple as, I don't know, playing chess, like a chess player, I mean, whatever.
Yep.
Like everyone has their own levels of discipline if they're elite at something. So you have to reframe how fitness and nutrition look in your head. They're not a burden. They're
Mm,
actually a way to invest in yourself, your longevity, and eventually that leads to success. We've talked about the game of professional rodeo, especially rough stock events. How long can you do this? Because that's really is what's going to determine how much money you can make. If you don't take care of yourself, you're out in 5 years. You're not making anything in it. Glad you had a good
ooh,
time.
yep.
See you next time. See you later.
Yep.
But
Yep, for
those
sure.
people that go ahead.
Thinking about
Sorry.
the tasks that you have to do as a professional rodeo athlete or as a stay-at-home mom, or as it doesn't matter where you're at, but thinking about those tasks and then categorizing them based on, what makes me money and what gives me energy. And like, man, there's a lot of those things that will give you energy, or say, for example, or things that you enjoy that also make you money, right? Those are like priority number one. Then there's also things that you enjoy that don't necessarily make you money, and that's also important. And then there can be things that you don't enjoy that make you money. For a rodeo athlete, it's prepping your food or paying attention to your nutrition. It might be for you, it might be getting in the gym because you don't enjoy working out, but those have to be prioritized. It's going to make you money, not just this season, but hopefully in 10 seasons, right? Keeping you the longevity in there. And so making sure that you're prioritizing the things that make you money and give you energy, and then eliminating or delegating the things that don't make you any money and don't give you any energy. There's a lot of tasks that we have that we get sucked into doing that do neither one of those two things for us. And it's like, cool, like how can we maybe make more time for the things that we know we need, even if we don't enjoy them, by getting rid of the stuff that doesn't move the needle forward for us. So yeah, I think I think it's important to understand that it's not, like you said, it's not punishment. It's just self-respect, and it's just changing it. You have to start small. For me this week,
Mhm.
first week reintroduction into 4 kids screaming all the time and being at home, it's like, man, I'm starting small. I was
Mhm.
like 8 hours of sleep is going to be my non-negotiable this week. And I know that it'll overflow into everything, and it doesn't happen all at once. A lot of times people are like, oh, I'm going to get 8 hours of sleep, and they get 8 hours of sleep one time.
Feel
And they're
worse.
like, I'm more tired than I was
Yep.
yesterday. It's
Yep.
like, yeah, that's because you're freaking wrecked. One of
Yeah.
the things that was a catalyst for this was when we were in Colorado last week with Tyler. We went and we did some meditation. We did some guided meditation and some yoga, and it was insane. It was a game changer. But during some of the guided meditation, I actually fell asleep. And I
Oh
was like,
yeah, it's
guys
the
were like, "Oh yeah,
best.
you were snoring." And I fell asleep. And so afterwards I went and talked with the instructor and I was like, "Yeah, I fell asleep." And he's like, "That tells me that your brain is overworked.
Yeah.
You should not be falling asleep there and you need to prioritize sleep." And I was like, I mean, it's something that I know cognitively, I
Mhm.
know, but I just suppress so that I can get more done. And I was
Mhm.
like, no, I'm going to prioritize some sleep. And so start small, start wherever it might be. It might be that one, that one rehab exercise that your coach
Are
is
you
giving
really
you.
getting more done, do you think, though?
I
Or is it just a feeling?
No,
That
no,
no,
you
like when
you
you're
feel better.
that's
No, you feel better as far as like it satisfies that part of
right.
you that's like, "Oh, I'm working," but
But
are
the
you getting more
quality of
done?
work
Absolutely
probably would
not.
have been way better if we
Yes.
would have done the prioritizing sleep
Yes,
first. Yeah,
yes,
dude, I
you're
run into
exactly
that all
right.
the time.
And,
Yep.
mentally in the it's like, man, I'm just going, 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 and I'm getting more done, but I'm much more effective and much more efficient with work when I'm able to prioritize rest. So whatever it
Mhm.
might be that you need to start small with, I encourage you to find one area of your life this week to be just relentlessly intentional with and make no excuses for. Don't cut any corners. There is no excuses. Do the
Well,
thing.
think about it
Pick
as
one
like
area.
deposits. If you can change your
Yes.
mindset, like the work you're doing now, you might not see the benefit in 10 minutes, but you're gonna see it later in your career or
Mm,
later in the arena this week.
mm,
Like whatever it is,
mm,
you're gonna see benefits and you've got to see them as little deposits that you're putting in the bank, and those add up to big money in the end. So put those deposits in little by little, doing those little things. And we're going to talk about how we can, what we suggest to our athletes, how to be more disciplined, but some tools that they can use to help that. You just got to change your mindset overall. Everything, again, that immediate gratification is not something that's going to happen with fitness or anything that's worth having in life. I'm going to tell you right now.
amen to that.
We know that you're committed to upping your game in the arena, and we're teaming up with the Rodeo Now app to help you do just that. The Rodeo Now app allows you to record, upload, and catalog your rides and runs, review your performances in slow motion, and our favorite feature, if you're not familiar with your stock draw, you can search your animal by name to get all the intel you need to make your next ride a winning one. Join the Rodeo Revolution today and download the Rodeo Now app for free. It's available in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
All right, let's talk about some strategies for kind of building discipline outside of rodeo practice, right? Outside of the things that we'd like to do. And so, routine, I think we've talked about this a few times today, but creating a routine is going to be number one thing I tell people if
Yep.
you want to start being more disciplined in your life. Routines create momentum, and that's why I freaking love my routine. I have a routine now. I've been on it forever, right? You do too. All of us do. It's how we do what we do. When you build a routine, especially outside of rodeo, you're setting yourself up to succeed even when motivation is low. So that's why I love routines. And mine's been a little off lately because my
Mm,
motivation has been at an all-time low. I'm same
mm,
thing, like you, just a little burnout. And that happens with life. But how do I get through? I'm not gonna be through it tomorrow.
hmm.
I've been feeling like this for a month. I know I'm not gonna be through it tomorrow. But little by little, I'm getting out of it because I still have my routine in play. Like I still know what I need to do every single day, no matter if I want to do it or not. And that's life, guys, hey, girls. Like
Yep.
so many times we have these conversations where I just don't want to do these things. And then they
Mm,
don't, and then they fall behind and they don't know what's going on. Dude, as an adult, the more years that go by, there's just more things that come up that I have to do that I don't want to do, but I got to do them just to be successful or to live or to provide. Like it just is what it is. So if you can change that thought process of I don't want to do this to not my favorite thing, but I get to do this because
mm,
it provides X, Y, and
mm,
Z. It gets a lot easier to do. And
yep.
also the less you bitch about it,
Mm.
the way easier it gets to do. Seriously,
Yep.
it seems like the
Yep.
more you complain about something, the more harder it gets to go and do it. If you just take a breath and say, this is my theory, my theme for today, F it.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. Just
it's
gonna do it.
done. Just go do it. Just go get knocked out.
And routines can shift. You know what I'm saying? Like routines
Absolutely.
can shift and ebb and flow. We all
They
have seasons of
should.
our life. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, my routine for the last month looks much more different than my routine for hopefully the next month as we prep for OPA. I'm able to be home more, right? I don't have to leave again until OPA. And so I'm able to be home. So routines can shift. But I think it goes back to that acronym, win. What's important now? and building a routine around the most important thing right now for you. For guys getting ready to go to the NFR, it's NFR prep. And so building a routine around that, whether you're going to the weight room and fundamental practice, getting on practice stock, whatever it might be. But even for a stay-at-home mom, or if you're, a retired, rodeo athlete that runs a fencing company, like you've got maybe a big job coming up. We all can think of these seasons of life that we go through, and prioritizing what's most important in that season and building a routine around making sure we accomplish that, I think is important. If we're always trying to mimic the same routine through those, we're just setting ourselves up for disappointment as we get to those hard seasons. Like Ryan Gray is somebody I can think of. He's getting ready to enter wrestling season. His kids wrestle. He coaches a wrestling team. He's on the fence line all day, and then he's going to the gym and like his free time, not that he probably has a lot of free time anyway, but it just went away, whatever he did. So his routine is going to change, but he needs to fight through that and not just be the victim in the fact that we're busy. Fight through that, find a new routine to prioritize your nutrition, to prioritize your sleep, to prioritize your workouts. And that goes for anybody in any situation. Find a routine no matter what the ebb and flow or season of life is.
You said something really good there as well. I love that. When you're setting these routines, you need to have your priorities in place to build your routine around. And your priorities are going to change as the seasons change throughout the year and throughout life. It's very, very easy to get overwhelmed and see all these things you have to do and just meltdown or lock up, paralysis by analysis. I'm looking at all these things that I just can't seem to do it. You've got to prioritize. What is the most important thing that I need to do right now that is going to move me forward? Boom, execute after that and make your list like that. Don't get overwhelmed with all of these things you have to do. Take those small steps. And that's going to be my next thing. Next suggestion is set small, achievable goals, especially if you're someone that gets overwhelmed with the thought of this. So break down those big goals into smaller ones. I want to gain 10 pounds of muscle. All right, how do we do that? I need to do resistance training 3 times a week. That's a really simple way to start, right? And then we can build on the next step. Next step is I probably need to increase volume as I'm doing this. Cool. Increase volume. Now we need to do make sure we're eating enough. We should have been doing that since day one, but we don't want to get overwhelmed. So that's not our priority right now. We start introducing these things little by little, and we start seeing these little wins stack up into really big wins, which is the whole point of this.
And it can be really difficult. Like, even if you've created a routine and you've set these small goals, if you don't have a really strong why connected to those things, it will still be difficult. There will be days. I mean, I'm tempted. Mind you, it's been 3 nights, so I don't want to pretend like I have a year's worth of data to collect. But the last 3 nights, every night, I've had a notification on my phone when I'm like, okay, putting my phone down for the night, and like right as I'm about to flip it over, put it screen down, I'm like, oh. I really want to address that notification. And it's really hard for me to say, you know what, that notification will be there in the morning, and like still put my phone down. My why is that I can't be the best version of myself as a father, as a husband, as a strength coach, as a mentor, as whatever the role is that I am going to be, one of the many hats that I might be wearing the next day. I'm not going to be the best version of myself if I'm constantly jumping to the next thing and answering notifications. So having a why attached to, why do you want to add 10 pounds of muscle? What's the deep-rooted purpose there? Because if you don't have a deep-rooted why, you can do these things, but then when it gets hard, because it will get hard, you're going to miss. You're going to mess it up, and you're going to fall off the wagon, and then you're going to be like, oh, crap. Now I got to start again. You know what I'm saying? So,
that setbacks happen, man. I deal with setbacks. I mean, everybody does.
Yep.
It's normal. So the thing you have to acknowledge here is, like you said, you're not going to be perfect every day, and that's okay. What matters is how quickly you get back on that track that you were talking about. You have to just bounce back. You miss a day, no big deal. Let's get back to the routine. You didn't lose anything. You missed a week, no big deal. Let's get back to the routine. Just get back to the routine. Have the discipline to do it instead of sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. You can't beat yourself up over about a bad workout or a missed workout, a bad meal. Focus on the next right step, and you'll be going the right places every time. Okay. But you have to be disciplined to stop yourself from thinking and going down that rabbit hole of, it's done, it's over, I've effed it up, it's over. I can't do it. It's no. Get back to it. Take the next step and just go freaking do it the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that comes to mind, we've talked primarily about nutrition and workouts and skill training, but like one of the things that I think rodeo athletes specifically lack a lot in is like professional development
Oh
skills, right?
man.
And
Yes.
putting yourself out there on social media and representing yourself well in a way in which like sponsors might want to come on, or sponsors are proud to be on your team. And I think that that's the like intellectual part of being a rodeo athlete. So much of being a rodeo athlete is just grip it and rip it. You know what I'm saying? Enter rodeos and go. But I do think that, the professional skills from entering rodeos and entering strategy to budgeting and paying attention there, but then like even social media management and paying attention to how you're represented, how you're putting yourself out to the world, that right there is something that a lot of rodeo athletes, you can tell. You can go to somebody's Instagram and I could say they have no discipline when it comes to their professional skills, because for a month they're posting a schedule every week, and then for 2 months they don't post any schedule. There's rides here, and then there's a whole year's worth of gap in posting of rides. We don't know where they're at or what they've got going on. You can look, it's pretty easy to tell. So if you were trying to be the whole package, if you're trying to be an elite athlete, not only is it about your ability to perform, nutrition, workouts, skill development, practice pens, rodeos, it's also about how you represent yourself and how you put yourself out there. Those professional skills of entering rodeos and social media management and so on and so forth, I think is something that is really missing with rodeo athletes today.
1,000%. And the only way you're going to get better at that is by dedicating time to practicing it and researching and learning about it. You need to allocate time to work on these things, the business side of rodeo, every day or every week at least. And that goes into your routine. And your routine, I like to write my routine out. It's called a schedule.
Yep.
And it's awesome. It keeps me on track day to day. But I put those things in when I need to work on them. And my professional skills look a lot different than a rodeo athletes do right now, right? But same thing, I'm working on them every time. And you see all of these athletes that most people look up to in this game, they excel at a professional level. They're the ones who take those skills seriously. And you can see it because all of these people, now that they've retired, they're commentating because they're extremely good speakers. They know how to represent whatever, the channel, the sport of rodeo, their sponsors. Like, they are professional because they didn't come out of the womb like that. I promise. It took a lot of development and a lot of practice to do this, right? They had a lot of opportunity because they were winning. And so they had to get better at it. So if you are someone that wants to get better at this and you're not getting a lot of those opportunities to go do the live practice, if you're not winning each round or whatever, there's tons of ways to practice. YouTube, there's tons of not skills, but like practice sessions for doing interviews. And a lot of it just involves talking to yourself in the mirror, getting more comfortable with hearing yourself talk, seeing yourself talk, having something in front of your face talk. It's simple, and silly. It feels so dumb to do, but you will get better at public speaking after doing it.
I even did for some clients, I did a quick Canva tutorial. I loomed a Canva tutorial on how to make a schedule. It took me 4 minutes and 30 seconds to start with a template and to make a professional looking schedule to post. And it's simple. So there's resources out there like Canva and other things that you can use for social media, not just the professional skills of speaking or entering rodeos, right? Like putting yourself out there on social media. There's lots of resources there. So I didn't know isn't a good excuse anymore. We say that all the time, right? Like there's too many resources for you to say, oh, I didn't know.
No, it's not definitely not. That is not an excuse that is going to work for anyone.
It might make you feel better for a minute, but
yeah, as long as it makes you feel better, I guess that's all that matters. But you're not going to get any further with that BS. But so for the professional skills, like you have to set aside time to practice them and to get better at them. My biggest tip is educate yourself. Read books, listen to podcasts, go get informed about the way other people are doing these professional skills. Because we've said a million times, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You need to take all the things that work from these pieces of information and apply it to your game. And that's how you're going to get better.
Yeah. Can I share one like really quick like success story? And I think you guys will, we get to see a lot of raw talent that comes through our schools at OPA. Right. And so a while back, one of our first OPAs, we had a saddle bronc rider come through. It was pretty green, and Mike Berger. Right. And so we did not make Mike Berger who he is today. Right. He has put in the work. We just gave him the tools. But Mike Mike is one of those guys that I am reminded of every time I start thinking about professional development and discipline. And I'm sure that if you asked him, he would say, man, there's been a lot of areas I've slacked in, but he has been so consistent in utilizing the tools, some of the tools that we taught him, and then him taking them and making them his own. And he's gone from being super green to, I mean, he's going to the Great Lakes Circuit Finals here pretty quick. He's been on the road. He pulls up to training camp last week in a Sprinter van with more stickers on it than you can shake a stick at, and a picture of him riding. It's like, man, it's so cool to see in a very short time frame what discipline can do for you. If you are willing to put in the work day after day, listen to constructive criticism from mentors and coaches around you that want to see you succeed, do the hard things, success is out there for you. So if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I just haven't really been making the progress that I wanted to make in the last few years. If you're a rough stock rider, I highly encourage you to look into one of our OPAs and coming there. That's definitely something that can give you the tools to get you set up. But outside of that, my free advice for you is you've got to be disciplined. You have to do the work, not only in the weight room, in the kitchen, not only in the arena, but also in the professional development realm as well.
I would say Mike took that $2,500 investment he made coming to an OPA and like 25 times that in 6 months. He had a Sprinter van bought, he had sponsors, he had everything within 6 months of coming to that school. And he's probably making more money in sponsorship than I would say 80% of the professional rodeo athletes going down the road, because of the way that he sets up everything that he's done. He took everything he learned and applied it and has been extremely disciplined. And you see it, man. You see it everywhere. It's awesome.
Yep.
Proud of that guy. And he's coming back. He's coming back for another school. Like, that just shows the willingness to keep investing in himself because he's seeing the results. And that's what we see a lot of guys think it sounds like a great idea when it comes down to the actual investing the money in themselves. They don't want to do it because they feel like they'll be able to figure it out on their own. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to be able to figure it out on your own. Truth hurts sometimes, but go for it. You might get a little better, a little further, but it ain't going to happen like you think it is. It isn't. But discipline, man, it is so important. And it's not just about the rodeo practice. Like we said, it's about becoming the best version of yourself in all areas of life, in and out of the arena. We all encourage you guys, take that first step today in building your discipline in something. Like Logan said, pick one thing this week to be intentionally disciplined about. Don't be a psychopath about it, but just be aware of what you're doing with that one thing every day. Fitness, nutrition, how you're breathing, like whatever it is, be disciplined in that thing and start translating that to other things as you go. Add a thing to the list as you keep going each week. That keeps it doable, not overwhelming. Biggest thing here is, if you need help with this and you've been struggling with it, get help. Get a coach. Get an accountability buddy. Reach out to us. Go to the website. You get a free consultation. We'll talk to you about all these things. We'll give you helpful tips right then and there, and make sure we have you teamed up with the right coach. It's going to lead you to your goals. But go to championlivingfitness.com, click the sign up now button, fill out the form, and we'll have a coach in touch with you as soon as possible. Free consultation, costs you nothing to get the consult and hear about all the options that we have for you. And coaches have been implementing some really cool stuff. And Logan, I just want you to touch on the groups that you've been doing, because we've been seeing the community aspect has grown so much through these groups, and the guys and girls that are a part of these groups with you and Paul right now, they're feeding off each other. Like, the accountability is going through the roof. The consistency of getting workouts done is going through the roof, because everyone's having fun working together, and they're not in the same place, but they're all coming to one place to communicate about it. It's been really cool. And I want people to know, like, I think this is going to be a huge thing, and it's going to create an awesome thing for rodeo athletes.
It's definitely been a fun project to kind of get started, and that's the idea. How can we provide more value to people? And really, it comes down to we repeat ourselves a lot on phone calls, which is totally fine, but what about if there was one place where people could go and get information? And so, specifically speaking, I have a bareback riding community, Paul has a bull riding community, and Tyler is launching, I believe, this week. So when this podcast comes out, it will be ready to it'll be all systems systems go. He has a bullfighting community. And so I think that Fighter's Edge is what it's called. Mine's Eliminator Ready. Paul's is Gold Buckle Athlete. Like, we've got these communities, and it's essentially a social platform, but exactly what you just said, Doug, is that it just provides some community support. And so there are guys posting in there questions. Right before this podcast, I was just reviewing a couple Spurboard videos and posting them in there for guys that are a part of the community. And so if you fall into one of those three categories right now, we've got more that will be coming in the very near future. But if you fall into one of those three categories and you're feeling a little stuck, I would definitely reach out. You can go to the website and fill out one of the bio forms, or definitely a way to get in the community. You can DM any one of the coaches at Champion Living for more information as well. And it makes a big difference having somebody. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
Mm-hmm. Amen, dude. Yep. Everyone check them out. Like I said, go to the website, get a free consultation, and we can get you guys rocking and rolling towards that. Hey, I want to give you a huge shout out to Beastmaster Rodeo Gear. Dude, their boots are so sick. Like, you got their shirts on. I got their hat on.
Yeah.
Their boots are dope. And I'm not just saying the thing is, like, it's a rodeo gear store. So everyone assumes like they're for bronc riders or bull riders. I don't, they're just cowboy boots are some of the best looking boots I've seen in a long time. I've had a couple of buddies of mine that are not rodeo guys reach out to me about buying cowboy boots recently. I don't know. I guess it's a big thing now. But they're like, what do I get? And they're naming like Luke Casey, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, it's going to blow your mind a little bit. But I'm going to send you a rodeo gear company. I want you to look at these boots and check them out. They both bought a pair. And they're like, these are so sick. And they're just business guys. Like, they wear a suit every day to work. Yeah. And they want a nice pair of boots to have to go out in and whatever, and to wear to work and everything. And one got the black. I think they both got the black pairs with the red tops. And then another one got black on black. That's the one I have. But they are sick. They're classy. And for the bareback and bronc riding, they're sick. Like, they are lightweight, durable. I know they've built that bronc riding boot specifically to go in a stirrup. And to be safer in the stirrup. So check them out, beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code. Champion Living 24. Save you 10% on their rodeo gear. I had a moment there. I forgot what it was for a second. I was like,
they're comfy too. Like, they've got a riding heel on them, and that's what bothers me about most boots with a bit of a taller heel, is it jacks my back up. These have just enough heel. I can get away with them. They're actually super comfy. Options. I wear them all the time, and I just gave a free pair away to my community in there. I gave a Beastmaster set of boots out to the guy that engaged the most, and so anyway, they're fantastic. They're definitely 100% my go-tos.
Yep, absolutely. Check them out, y'all. If you need new boots, any gear, they are revolutionizing the game of rodeo gear. It's so cool. When we got to go over there to the warehouse and see all of their, what they're doing, the research and development and how they're doing things, they are changing the game for rodeo gear. And not only that, they're making it affordable for everyone, which is the biggest thing. So again, check them out. Proud to be a part of them and their team. And they'll be at the school with us in OPA. So we will have Tim and the whole Beastmaster crew there. It's going to be a great time. Guys, until next time. Oh, wait. Westgate Hotel. If you guys are going to be in Vegas, come to the Westgate. Come check out our podcast. We'll be there 10 a.m. every day at the iBar in the lobby. We'll have guests on daily and get into chat and catch up with them about their experiences at the NFR, experiences with life, and come meet us in person and catch up. All right, for real. Until next time. We'll catch you later. Hui has the best gear because it's tough. It's durable. It withstands the test of what we put it through, and that is why I am a big supporter of Hui brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at huibrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout.
If you want to learn more about our coaches and program options, make sure to swing over to our website at www.championlivingfitness.com. You can fill out the Become an Athlete form to set up your free consultation and have all your questions answered by a coach.